Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WGLNA Season 5 Finals. We're ready for our second semifinal match. We have with us from I Love Lamp, Baby Halo, and from SIMP, Mac G. Gentlemen, the 4 maps that have been banned are Cliff, Ruinberg, Prohorovka, and Steps. That leads Himmelsdorf and Murovanka. The 2 map choices. SIMP, the choice is yours.
We'll be playing Murovanka first.
Murovanka will be the first map. I Love Lamp, what will be your starting position? Attack or defend?
We'll be attacking.
Attacking on Murovanka for map number 1 for I Love Lamp. That means map 2 will be Himmelsdorf. SIMP, will you attack or defend first on Himmelsdorf?
We'll defend first on him.
They will defend first on Himmels. SIMP, any words for your opponents before we start?
Good luck. Congratulations on making it here. I have a lot of respect for all the teams that make it here, especially on the first try. So congratulations.
I Love Lamp.
All right, thank you for your words, and we'll see you in the battlefield.
All right, gentlemen, please shake hands. Good luck and have fun. Let's battle.
The time is now, ladies and gentlemen. We are going into the second semifinals here at the Wargaming.net League North America Season 5 Finals. One team has already made it. Attention for that 100.
Performers from every single battle winner. Don't forget, if you don't know how to bet, you can ask the mods in chat. They will be there to help you.
You know, we talked about these teams a lot before. Consistency from SIMP has been an issue, but one other thing that we talked about I Love Lamp is their willingness to overcome adversity, and Invade from that team is no different. Let's check it out.
My name is Edgar Salazar. My player in-game for World of Tanks is Invade. Things that I've gone through with my problem, with my health issues from Season 2 up till now, has really motivated me to continue doing World of Tanks, just because it gives me that little push that I need to keep doing strats, working with the team, doing stuff so we can improve as a team. It's been a journey. I mean, from Season 2 being diagnosed from all the way until now, like Season 2, I got diagnosed, so I had to leave Wreak Havoc, and then Season 3, I had to take it completely off because of my chemotherapies. I was weak, I couldn't do much. And then Season 4, I went into remission. And then, so I decided to join River Blood and told them if they can take me in, even though I had the risk of maybe getting the cancer coming back. But unfortunately, it did happen. The cancer came back, so Season 4, I was off for a bit, half of the season.
Being there was very hard. It took a lot of time. He was doing treatments like 5 days for 7 hours, so it was a long time. For me, being here, supporting my brother, I enjoy it. Being here in San Francisco is great. Yeah, I try to do more stuff with him, because last time he was in his own world. Now we're more open. And yeah, we spend a lot of time together now. We talk more.
Yeah, it was a hard transition after having that health issue, because a lot of people were doubting me, and that didn't stop me. I mean, it's like what you said. Once you have cancer, you have a different perspective of life, and once I went through that, I see a lot of things that are positive. There's little things that people complain about, such as work, and it's things that you should just be grateful that you're alive and your health is back to normal. You're actually doing things that you want to do. Because when I was in that bed taking that chemotherapy, there was so many things I wanted to play World of Tanks. I wanted to go play outside some basketball, play soccer, hang out with my friends. But luckily, I went through it, finished it, and now that's what I'm doing, playing World of Tanks, doing the things that I wanted to do. And it's awesome because I motivate people all the time when I talk to someone who's going through cancer. I motivate them, stay positive, If you're not positive, you're not going to get through that disease that I had to go through. And like I said, I'm grateful that I'm still here and motivating people, daily lives, every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Invade. As we talked about going through adversity and also just being constantly positive, it's great to see something like that where, the positiveness and happiness, I think, fills and cures the soul. And I really, really do passionately believe that he's over here doing his passion, which is World of Tanks, alongside his brethren, I would say, in I Love Lamp.
Yeah, I'm never, I don't think, going to forget Invade. I remember we were in Vegas for one of the early seasons of the WGLNA, and he came up to me and he gave me a little keychain. And I realized just what kind of person he is. He really does take everything from a perspective that I don't think any of us can really understand until we've seen it.
Well, it's great because I just found out he lives 10 minutes away from me in Vegas.
Yeah.
So we're gonna definitely be best buds and hang out, and it's gonna be absolutely great. Really excited for that, but really excited for this upcoming semifinal match. It is, of course, I Love Lamp against SIMP. Two powerful teams, but SIMP considered the massive favorites going into this. I mean, SIMP has been here 5 times already. So for them, this is just another walk in the park.
For a live event, I think. A live event, they're probably comfortable, feeling fine, they're easy. This is what they've done 1,000 times. I Love Lamp, contrasting, is the team that hasn't been here before. They haven't seen live events, and so they could be feeling the nerves. Depends. It depends all upon how you handle it. Some people, natural. It's very natural when you go to a live event to just be in front of people and ignore the lights and all of that. Some people don't. We're going to find out when these guys start playing, but SIMP, coming into the finals, they're leaving behind some battles that were not that impressive, some battles that made us worry about their ability to perform here today.
Now, do you think they're going to be polarized in that they're either in disarray or they're going to play exactly to expectations? Because I feel like, you know, with this downwards momentum they have a little bit here, it could be either, as we said before, an activator to get better, or, you know, a way to just spiral downwards out of control.
I think they're going to be more put together than simply a team that has fallen apart. They're SIMP. You're right. They have experience. They know what they're doing. At their very worst, they're still going to play incredibly well. At their very worst, they're still going to take this one probably, I'd say worst case, 3-5 would be the absolute worst. Probably a tiebreaker if they're not playing to the point that we want them. And if they're on top of the game and they've fixed all these problems, I don't know if I Love Lamp's going to be ready for it. I Love Lamp is sitting here looking at a situation where they're in unfamiliar territory, playing against a team which is scary, that they've beaten before, yes, but you very well could underestimate your opponent because of that.
Now, I think I Love Lamp actually doesn't get enough credit. We always talk about how they're wild cards, they do crazy stuff. They're able to do crazy stuff because they have such masterful tankers on their team. We've seen this time and time again with teams like Pub Stars, where you get these awesome, awesome tankers together, and that makes a great team, right? Oh, a lot of times wrong. Sure. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of just meshing and feeling out the family that you've actually cultivated. This is a little bit different than what we've seen with the freshman teams coming in and being pretty dominant.
Yeah, it's like we've seen in the past teams like Pub Stars, teams like maybe Arbus, for example. Excellent players, all of them known by name in the community for being what they are. Put them on a team and they just go wreck people. But once they start to run into some real adversity, problems start showing up, they start recognizing that maybe things aren't coming together, that's where a team like that falls apart. Today, if they perform very well, they'll prove to us that they're excellent players. Then, what we'll be looking forward to is whether or not they can keep it all together. So, is maybe I Love Lamp the kind of team that we've seen in the past? They're going to show up one season and really impress us and play wonderfully, but then not come back in the future. I don't think that's what I Love Lamp is.
No, I don't think so either.
I think they're the kind of team that's going to be around for a while. They're here at the finals. They're going to be a staple of the league.
You know, the story really is SIMP is the giants that are mortal, right? They are the Goliath in this particular case. Would I say I Love Lamp are the Davids? Not really. I think they're actually like the secret Einsteins, man. These guys are innovators as well. We got to talk about that. How they introduced the E25 to competitive play, where everybody was like, well, this E25, it's just a gimmick. It's a one-trick pony. And then that one-trick pony became a two-trick pony, and a three-trick pony, and a four-trick pony. And it's like, well, how many ponies do you have, man? That's a lot of ponies to actually pull out of your hat.
They must be ranchers.
They have to be, man. These guys know what they're doing. They pull out the unorthodox and expect the unexpected.
Now, when we say expect the unexpected, does that mean expect the unexpected so you expect the expected because it's now unexpected, or you're expecting
too much, Rukil.
Too much? We're going to go too deep? We
much.
Can't expectception?
Nope, just you. Too much.
Just me. Okay.
Just you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if we expect them to pull out crazy plays and they pull out something very standard, well put together, and disciplined...
I mean, that could actually throw them off, but you need a baseline a lot of the times. The way SIMP works, they normally kind of simulate all the different attacks that can happen while they're in game, and they say, okay, how do we defend against this attack? How do we defend against that attack? And normally they're saying like, oh, there's 5 total attacks that can happen, so we know all the different ways we're going to prepare for these. But now, I Love Lamp, what they do is they bring in this extra element of, instead of 5, your assumption should be 10. Your assumption should be 7 or 8. And I'm going to pick that 3, 4, or 5 different attacks that are allowing us to actually push forward and do stuff.
Yes, and now we're going to go into Murovanka for battle number 1. Something important to talk about. This is the map where I Love Lamp showed us that they can just bring it to SIMP. Where they showed that SIMP is the kind of team that they can just walk all over. Beautiful play last time they were here. Let's see if they can do it again.
And let's also talk about unorthodox play on this map too. I think it's one of the newer maps to come into the 7x54. Well, obviously.
It is.
But let's actually talk about the tank lineup first.
All right, first, SIMP is going to be defending first. They'll have a T-32, 1390, 2 RU-251s, 2 T-54 lightweights, and a 5916. On the other side, Lamp will have a T-32, 2 Pershings, 2 1390s, a T-54 lightweight, and a T-37, showing us that both teams haven't changed too much, at least from what I'm seeing in these lineups.
Slightly heavier, though, for the blue team, which is I Love Lamp. A little bit unorthodox, wouldn't you say?
This is something they've brought before, so I'm almost going to call it standard at this point.
Okay, but ordinarily we do have a much more defensive lineup, being much, much heavier. But of course, spawning as the aggressors in the north side, it is I Love Lamp.
Yep, that looks like Baby Halo to me.
That's all right.
And
of course,
spawning in the south side, the defending team will be SIMP.
so ordinarily I was, watching a lot of the matches throughout this season. Murovanka is actually a very interesting map where I feel like the aggressors get this beautiful concave and they're getting ready to attack. And for the defenders to win, it's actually interesting. They go for a lot of counterattacks. They go for a lot of counter pressure and push out the weaker sides in order to isolate those sides before that actual concave exists. What are your experiences so far? Do you kind of feel that it's the same way over here?
I think that making that kind of an assumption is one way they play. I don't think that we can say they'll always play that way.
No, definitely. But I think it's like our baseline that we're normally used to seeing over here on Murovanka.
Maybe. With going for the flank, trying to find a weakness. I think for I Love Lamp, it's about the crossfire. We've seen that before. That was what tore apart SIMP last time. SIMP, I mean, a lineup like this, the way they're kind of rolling out right now, Blue Boy's on the flank as he is, and then having Heavy 20 Mac G and everyone else spread across the west part of the map, I don't feel as confident. I think there's a huge opening here for I Love Lamp, and you don't even have to worry about solidifying the flanks, really blocking them out or anything. SIMP is static. They're not going to move. They're going to sit still.
And honestly, that's been one of the big problems with SIMP, I would say, overall. You can't really stay too static on defense because there's two separate huge areas that you have to defend against, the west side and the east side. In this position, there's a big west side push coming out from I Love Lamp. Are they going to be able to surprise their opponents and catch SIMP off guard just barely enough to be able to get that small advantage? X-Soldier taking a little bit of damage. Actually, no, not at all. Bounces a shot from Abrasive.
He's the first indicator. Him being spotted is huge. SIMP is now going to be able to readjust, but you can tell from Fedge's position that he is not quite respecting that they're all there yet. Now with Invade spotted, that's going to pull a trigger. SIMP needs to react, and they have to secure their southwest flank. If they do not, Absolute Royal and Abrasive are going to get pressured out. Heavy 20 is going to lose any kind of control, and SIMP is going to be forced into the east side of the map where they're not going to be able to stop the cap.
Oh, this is scary, man. This is really scary if I am SIMP because we still haven't had any movement from them. And for them to get like a favorable concave, it basically relies on I Love Lamp making mistakes and pushing too far in to stop their concave.
And here's the push. Invade. Consequences have closed the distance, and Absolute Royal does not have enough time to really escape. Now, they're just a few meters apart, and it's a 2v3. a dangerous situation where Consequences Invade could do this, but 2 missed shots from Adroxus and Abrasive is going to be huge. And on top of that, nice connections into Absolute.
Oh, wow. Consequences actually getting targeted down immediately. He's just 1 shot away from dying. Down he'll go. Invade takes another shot there. Nice coordination from Simp, and now Invade needs to be so careful because he's the next one to be isolated.
1, 2 more shells, that's all it's going to be. Adroxus gets it.
Wow. That definitely went wrong for I Love Lamp there, trying to push their aggression onto their opponents, being caught completely out. Heavy 20 now goes down, but trades out. You know, things are a little bit crazy here, but if we look at the hit points, I mean, I Love Lamp pretty far ahead over here in this battle.
Yes, now focus on to X-Soldier. You're seeing Simp keeping the pressure on, keeping tempo in their control. Fedge will go down, but Adroxus and MacG, X-Soldier and Baby Halo will go down. 2 tanks left on the battlefield for Lamp against 5 for Simp. Starshield will be next as soon as Adroxus is loaded.
Excuse me, I meant Simp is pretty far ahead, obviously.
Of course.
Now they're 1,000 hit points to 3,000. Simp way ahead, and it's only Akula having all that 1,000 hit points. Would have been different if it was 5 other tanks, maybe. But Simp just being able to be comprehensive with their defense. I feel like I Love Lamp did make the mistakes necessary for Simp to take this win, because we did see a pretty static Simp to begin here.
And there we go, Adroxus gets the final kill. Simp, perfect reactions.
Yes, absolutely.
Really worrying at a time. I was worried. I thought they were going to get pressured out of that position. The push was going to be aggressive enough. Do you think I Love Lamp hesitated?
I think, okay, so they were going for the the concave over on the west side, but what ended up happening is one side actually just delayed, and you had Invade and who was his battle buddy over there? I actually completely forgot. But he had Invade and another tank going over to the southwest
Consequences.
side. Yes.
Unfortunately,
X-Soldier? It was X-Soldier, I think. X-Soldier and Invade.
No, Consequences. He went down after only dealing 239 damage.
Wow.
You see, he went out a little bit too aggressively, thinking I have an overmatch and I'm going to be able to zero my shells. But unfortunately for him,
you're right. Yeah.
He overestimated his abilities against these 2 tanks who are consistent fire, reload very quickly, and also the T-54 lightweight has armor which can be very tricky. Invade is not meeting that aggression. He doesn't have the shells to deal the damage.
Yeah.
And he has to go on reload now. Without a battle buddy, he has to try and escape, but it's already over. He cannot escape. He's wasted enough time. He should have left 30 seconds ago. Then he could have survived.
They definitely needed a lot more support. I love how Fedge actually went from the bottom center over to support those 2 tanks. We were talking about that before. Also, Aggressor, he was taking the initial brunt of the damage. Obviously, he's the slightly heavier tank being in that Pershing. So trying to absorb and block some of those shots on the initial push-in with Consequences Invade. He took too much damage and also wasn't able to put out any damage. 0 hit points was able to be delivered by Aggressor. That's a big problem as well.
I Love Lamp was not all on the same page. They were all trying to play the strategy, but you could see that some people were a second or 2 ahead in a strategy that required coordination on a level which you cannot make those mistakes. You cannot be a second behind. You cannot be too aggressive and go a second ahead. You cannot hesitate. You cannot waste shells. You must be very efficient. I Love Lamp was not there. This is their first battle. This is their first time on the stage, and I think that was nerves.
It could be nerves, definitely. It could just be happenstance. I mean, those type of things happen. Look at our last battle. We had Elevate drop the first battle and then come back very nicely. It could just be that one game of adaptation that they need to get back into this. But I will agree with you that you know, Baby Hello and the rest of his team of I Love Lamp didn't look as crisp as we've seen them in the past in the regular group stages.
Exactly. It didn't look as crisp. It didn't look as coordinated when it needed to have the timing. The one part of the strategy that needed to happen for it all to come together wasn't there. Everything else, there could have been mistakes anywhere else. Someone could have missed some shells. Someone could have done something like that. I Love Lamp just needs to take a second, take a deep breath. I don't know. Is their timeout maybe something they could use early on? They get about 60 seconds extra just on the timeout to sit back, take a deep breath, and say, all right, we can do this. We don't need to get rattled by the first battle.
That's definitely a battle that I would take a timeout because you want to identify where you went wrong and try to solidify and kind of hedge all of those weaknesses that you had, go from there and just play your game directly after that.
But we identified it very quickly what the problem was. I think they did as well. And now you just take a second, you calm yourself down, don't go on tilt. We talked about tilt management earlier.
Yep. I mean, look at the SIMP team. Do they look on tilt at all? Do they look like they're under a lot of pressure? And by the way, I do want to add that they are under a lot of pressure, but they don't look it at all. And it looks like they don't feel it at all. Whereas if we look at I Love Lamp, they look a little bit more nervous, a little bit more serious,
But
right?
there are some people on the team that are staying cool.
Yes.
Starshield staying cool.
So I want to remind you guys that SIMP, if they win here, they actually get an auto seed over into the grand finals in Poland on April 25th. So you can tell SIMP really wants to take this one. Obviously, representing North America is a prestige that everybody wants to be shooting for.
I would love it if SIMP came back today, showed us exactly what they are, that they're back where they used to be, that they're at that level, and then to go to grand finals playing like this. If they can keep this up for the rest of this series, they're primed for first place.
Yeah, that's right. And we are going to step into Battle 2 momentarily. I mean, this is the time for SIMP to shine and really show why they are considered the gigantic favorites going into these finals. Let's go into the map and check out the tanks.
All right, SIMP with a T-32, 1390, 2 RU-251s, 2 T-54 lightweights, and a 5916. Solid strategy, much like what they did last time. I Love Lamp, 2 T-32s and a Pershing with 2 1390s, T-54 lightweight, and that 5916 by Baby Halo. So it's very heavy. You're going to get close to your opponent. You're going to get right in their face with those T-32s and that Pershing, and you're not going to let up. That's what I Love Lamp needs to go for. That's what this strategy and this lineup is designed to do. Do not let those light tanks do what they do best and use their mobility. If they can, we're looking good. If they don't, if they spend too much time at great distances, SIMP is going to be able to run all over them, circles around them.
Let's talk about opening scout runs. Akula and Baby Halo are the ones that we really need to talk about. Baby Halo going into the Magical Forest, and he is just trying to scout out, see if there's a huge east side push. It doesn't happen normally when you are the defenders, but I think he's just trying to aggress up and see where he's going to be spotted first. We're going to look, as you can see, all the way on the right-hand side and the left-hand side, there are these light bulbs that might go on, and that represents if they are spotted or not. So Baby Halo is just going to check for that and see if there's any aggressive, weird runs, and also to see how much space I Love Lamp can take before actually, committing to a particular area.
Exactly. Now, okay, that's going to be the trigger. They're going to push up, forward, and take it close to their opponent. You see Aggressor X Soldier trying to take the most hidden route. Is it going to work, though, Andre?
We'll see.
We'll see in a
He
moment.
did something similar to this, although he pushed up a lot faster.
Yeah, maybe the hesitation is what they're going for, trying to work on the timing, controlling it. Instead of attacking as quickly as they did in the past, going, all right, slow it down a minute, we'll take it slow.
That's right.
It'll still work, we just don't have some fallbacks.
And
that
please
we
explain why just waiting a minute matters, because a lot of people are like, okay, they wait a minute and they go. Why does that matter?
All right, look at the timer. Dead center up at the top. 5 minutes and 14 seconds on it right now. You have 7 minutes as the attacker to win by either capping out or killing. If you run out of time and it's maybe 30 seconds left, you probably don't have time to cap, unless you've already started it and you're a good ways through. Even then, potential if there's still tanks alive to fix that, to stop the cap, you're going to lose. If you can't kill in time, people are going to run away, draw it out, defender wins in that situation.
But I think most importantly, too, with I Love Lamp waiting a little bit, it just means that all the tanks could be anywhere on the map, whereas they just blitz and go in the first 6 minutes. There's only a specific lane of places where I Love Lamp can be, especially if they're spotted. Baby Halo is spotted, by the way, so they know he's kind of situated over there. That makes it a little bit uncomfortable. SIMP is saying, okay, well, we see Baby Halo all the way on the east side. Is there an east side push coming? Is there an east side aggression up from I Love Lamp? And, a lot of times people will be like, no, that's not going to be nearly as good. It's just going to be slow aggression or slow, development of their pieces. But you never know with I Love Lamp. There could be, even though it sounds crazy, 7 tanks coming in from the east side trying to do something.
Exactly. Now, all right, this is where it's going to happen. All right, next minute or two, we're going to see a resolution here. Invade's moving forward, and you can see there's a kind of pacing right behind him. Everyone else is going to wait, move up after he secured the area, and then we'll see the attack. But the pacing on this is so very slow. I think I Love Lamp doesn't want to risk losing because of lack of coordination. They just want to win with a fast attack that they can get some kind of a success, and this is where the push is happening. Consequences and up and over. Starshield Invade moving in, and some nice connections. Good focus onto Absolute Royal. 762 damage as he's forced to back off. He cannot maintain that position, opening it up for I Love Lamp to take control. But counterplay. Mac G's going to move up the east against Baby Halo, and you're going to see those two clash momentarily. Resolution of that, we'll see where that goes, but that could be where I Love Lamp is going to take it, or you're going to see Simp just barely escape alive.
There is a Mac G versus Baby Halo fight. Mac G, oh my god, Baby Halo is going to crash into Mac G and take the kill. Nice little first blood, but of course they are the lower tier tanks, so it doesn't have that huge of a consequence.
That will have a huge consequence. That means Simp cannot escape with Mac G to draw the battle.
Oh, that's true. Very true.
Now that he is down, that means I Love Lamp either takes it all, or this one they just can't finish out in time for other reasons. But the tanks that they need to take down and focus on are all in the same area.
All right, Invade is actually reloading, so he can't do additional damage. Going to drop into the small, tiny little Deflade, just trying to bait out those tanks to make it very difficult for them to get clean shots and back away easily. It looks like actually Starshield is going to pop up here.
But Baby Halo, Invade, both down. Guns off the battlefield. Heavy 20 is the only big tank down for Simp. Mac G, oh, now Adroxus goes down, of course.
Yeah, but look at the HP difference. I Love Lamp is continuing this really nicely, actually realizing that, you know, Simp, they're still a little bit slow to the draw, and they reinforced the west side, and that's how they adjusted this time around. Down goes Starshield. It is unfortunate, but it's still 4,000 hit point advantage against only 1,600 hit points. Akula, Aggressor, and X-Soldier very healthy as they start their eyes on Blue Boy's captain.
Yeah, but Akula, in that T-54 lightweight, he's going to drift around, find himself with Blue Boys, and need a little more focus fire. That's what needs to happen from I Love Lamp, because they are running out of time, and Abrasive is going to escape. Just take a look there. X-Soldier takes down Blue Boys, but look north. Abrasive is putting distance between himself and the cap with 1 minute and 12 seconds left. This is a tense situation for Simp. They can make it happen. They can make it work, but Fedge is also dealing just great damage. And there, Abrasive, nice connection from downtown.
Man, I mean, these guys just need to poke and stop that cap from happening. There's only 19 seconds left on cap, but 53 seconds left overall, so that means they need to reset it a couple times here and switch targets. They can't go for the same target over and over and over again. Fedge going to poke out, try to get the shots. They need to do something.
He has to pick the perfect angle. If he can get the connection, great. But look at the way the guns are turned.
2 seconds, 1 second. Oh, Fedge goes down so fast. Base has been captured. I Love Lamp will tie up the series at 1-1 apiece. Really nice adjustment. As we were talking about, the west side, more commitment over there that really changed the flow of everything. So we saw Blue Boy's captain still be a little bit slow to the draw. Of course, he was still checking out the east side. And of course, when he saw the west side pushed, he had to move a long way over to actually reinforce. We also had, you know, players like Fedge make a huge circle around that gave a lot of time for I Love Lamp to isolate on the west-hand side. They had 4 to 5 tanks covering over there and able to just sweep across and overmatch. Really nicely played.
Yeah, I got to give it to them. They took that deep breath.
That's right.
They took the deep breath. They understood what they needed to do. And now they've done it. Now, what's Simp's reaction to this? Are they disappointed in themselves? Are they going to be able to respond from this? Because it wasn't horrible from Simp. They made a lot of right choices. They just were outplayed, I think. That's my opinion. I think they're outplayed.
I mean, yes, the strategy choices were the big part, I think, in this battle. It wasn't necessarily the tanking that, you know, it has been prevalent in the past, but not so much over here in battle number 2. Now, it switches up, so we're going to get to see Simp actually change to the aggressors. They need to make stuff happen. They need to be the ones that say, hey, we're capable of being good aggressors. We're not just sit and be good defenders, try to adjust accordingly, try to be good brawlers. They need to be the ones that say, hey, this is how we're going to seize our advantage. This is how we're going to seize the game and get these wins stacked up.
Exactly. Now, I think with the switch happening right now, Simp on the attack, it's going to be a much more difficult place for them. I think I Love Lamp is a team that once we throw them on the defense is going to be able to handle this a little bit better.
Well, let's find out. Tanks have been chosen. Rootkill, go ahead and tell me.
All right, looks like T32, 1390, 2 RU-251s, 2 T54 lightweights, and a 5916 for SIMP on the attack. Now, I love Lamp. This is weird.
Wow.
2 IS3s, 1390, 3 T54 lightweights, and a 5916.
Can you explain to me this lineup from I Love Lamp? Because it seems so counterintuitive on a map like Murovanka. Yes, I understand it's the face, but also there's a lot of sniping places. There's a lot of good hold down places for something like a T32 up Pershing. Why are they not choosing to get tanks like that? Why are they choosing to go with these IS3s?
Alpha, you're going to hit a tank, you're going to have armor, and you're going to have hit points. Against tanks like RU-251s, that there's two of, Fedge and Adroxus, they're going to have trouble performing. They fire HE, heat, and an AP shell without a great amount of pen. They struggle against tanks like IS3s. These are brought to counter them deliberately, and then with that, you have a number of other advantages that just come with having an IS3. It's a solid tank.
So do you just stall out and defend if you are I Love Lamp, or do you try to go for the counterattack in this spot?
You do what you want. If you find a weakness, a reason to attack, IS3 is a great tank because you can initiate an attack. It's not like a softer, lighter lineup where you have to continue to flex and you don't have the option to go right at their face. You always have the option to just run straight at them and just push them in.
Okay. And ordinarily, I would think that that SIMP wants to go into this sniping race at this point, just knowing that they have the better tanks for that hold-down position, better tanks for sniping. They're going to be the ones that have that, I would say, HP advantage when they trade out, because they're just more inclined to bounce shells from I Love Lamp than vice versa. So SIMP might sit back a little bit, similar to how an Artie would play, try to get that HP advantage and then move in, but it's still going to be very, very difficult if these low-profile tanks just stay out of cover and don't get shot.
Exactly, and what's so strange, you see SIMP firing blindly towards Akula. Now they're spotting him. Once they get him spotted, they're just going to keep trying to volley fire into him. You see them lining up their shots, trying to see if they can get the damage. This is SIMP's strategy for this. Let's just tear our opponent apart slowly, find that one huge connection, and from there, you're going to be able to just kind of domino effect, take your opponent down. But now that they've gotten through that period of the map, only 4 minutes and about 30 seconds left, they don't have time to keep doing this. They don't have time to keep volleying. They don't have time to miss shells like they have been. As you can tell, not a huge result, right? No connections, no damage.
We're almost 3 minutes in, or 2.5 minutes in, and nothing has happened. No HP trades. They're not able to take advantage of their nice lineup, or the nice hold-down lineup that they have. And I like it. I Love Lamp is saying, okay, I'm here. Come try to attack me. I'm Akula. I have a really low-profile tank. He's bait, right? Yeah. He's bait to just waste time, because Akula's never going to put himself in a comparable position. He's not going to try to trade with his opponents. He's just saying, hey, let's play this game, and we know eventually you have to run into our IS3s, and that's when we're going to be strongest.
Exactly. Once you close the distance, which you have to do eventually, we'll be fine. Until then, look at the ranged engagements. Oh no, MacG is lit.
He's lit, and Baby Halo is not lit. He's passive scouting in this nice little bush here. So let's see what actually happens, because Consequences is right around the corner.
He's very, very close. MacG, though, he knows how to play his light tanks. He's been doing it for a while now, and he knows the approach. Look at the expert driving, left and right at perfect times so that he can avoid being spotted. And even then, exactly, he makes it all the way up, not spotted. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't spot Consequences in return, and he's going to be forced to back out. But other side of the map, we do have shots fired. Heavy 20 has found Aggressor, and the IS3s are moving out into the high ground to pressure SIMP back down into that low ground, into a disadvantageous position.
It's funny, they're actually like screening the cap so it doesn't get screened, or it doesn't get capped at this point. It's really interesting how they're trying to use their position. Cap was started momentarily, but it was they went off just for a brief moment. It doesn't look like they were actually committing to that. Still 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, and there's 8,000 hit points that need to be eliminated from their opponents to be able to take this win. I think I Love Lamp is in a fantastic position.
This is
because
great.
SIMP has been too inactive for the majority of this battle.
They've been looking for weakness, but I Love Lamp hasn't shown them anything.
No, they have not. And this is one of the weaknesses of SIMP, their inability to really activate their attacking force, their attacking drive. And I Love Lamp, I think, has done a fantastic job of just stopping them from doing anything assertive.
Oh, Baby Halo goes down. That's a big surprise. I did not expect him to get spotted in that 59-16. Oh, looks like he moved out just at the wrong moment and was caught for it.
Still, I mean, if you look at the hit points, 6,645 for SIMP, 7,144. MacG did go down in exchange, so you have to actually look at that and say, okay, it's a kind of an even exchange, but if you look at actual damage being done, Heavy 20 has half hit points, and everybody else, except Consequences, is looking okay.
It's about to be the attack. The press is waiting. There we go. Fedge, Droxus, Abrasive are going to be the main attack force. Blue Boys to lead the way. As he peeks out, he's going to bounce a shell, and that's going to open the window for the focus fire onto X-Soldier. He will be the first tank to go down if SIMP has anything to say about it, but great teamwork. He's going to hide behind Aggressor, keeping himself alive. And now look at the damage spread all over SIMP. Droxus getting focused as best he can, but he's going to back off.
X-Soldier one shot away, and down he will go, but great job staying alive. Now Aggressor is going to be attacked upon. 1 minute and 7 seconds left. Aggressor will go down. There are 4 more blue tanks from I Love Lamp still alive. Consequences will go down. Absolute Royal stays alive. This is the SIMP we know. Look at that, able to actually take the HP advantage, but is it going to be enough time? 50 seconds to eliminate these 3 tanks. Starshield, the next one going to be eliminated, it looks like. Down he goes from Abrasive. Wow, it's just bam, bam, bam. Immediately, SIMP is trying to take it to their opponents.
And there, Abrasive moving out on the flank as Fedge is on the chase. Akula might recognize what he needs to do, and I think he does. Fight Fedge, take him down, put some distance on, and that's all I need to do to get victory. But look at that, great play.
Great driving.
Look at it, he's opened up the side of Akula. Abrasive's going to be able to move right in for the kill, and Fedge to finish it out.
Very nicely done, but is it going to be enough? Let's go ahead and check Invade. Oh, where is he? There he is. Invade is all the way over on the east side. Absolute Royal trying to... no, it's 3 seconds left. They're not going to be able to take out Invade.
No. Absolute doesn't have the distance. I Love Lamp's able to play for time.
And that's the big problem with delaying the attack so much. We saw SIMP very comprehensive, but if they had only a minute more, they would have been able to take that game. Invade was actually getting trapped eventually. He didn't have a ton of hit points. SIMP had double the hit points and triple the amount of tanks out on the field, and they were not able to get the job done because they surely did not have enough time. You can't activate your attack at 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. You have to do it a lot earlier. Exactly.
It's SIMP trying to go for something. If it had worked, it would have been brilliant, and we would be sitting here saying, "SIMP, you are such geniuses. You've done this amazing opening move, which has gotten you such a lead, and you're able to clean it up." But because it doesn't work, it's the exact opposite. Because I Love Lamp doesn't let up, does not expose themselves, and does not make mistakes positionally, it's a completely different situation. It's just that one little thing about the way I Love Lamp was playing their defense.
I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. Keeping the IS-3s alive a little bit longer. This 10 seconds, this 15 seconds makes a big difference because now the rest of SIMP can't aggress too fast because they need to eliminate these IS-3s a bit faster. They're missing shots. They're actually bouncing some shots, and it makes it a little bit difficult. You might think 10 seconds isn't a lot, but that's 2 more shells that these 2 IS-3s can get out, even maybe sometimes 4 more shells that these IS-3s can get out and stop the aggression, stop the push from happening. SIMP caught in a weird spot, but they still have a couple of games to make it up.
Exactly. Now, with I Love Lamp up 2-1, it's going to be I Love Lamp on the defense with a T-32, 1392 RU-251s, 2 T-54 lightweights again, and a 5960 by MacG. MacG, of course, always playing that little tank every single time, and he plays it so well. Now, I Love Lamp, 2 IS-3s again, 1390, 3 T-54 lightweights, and the 5916.
Man, I'm just thinking, Rookhill, it could happen where the Titans, the big guys that were supposed to be winning both their matches, which are, of course, SIMP and the Cunninghams, actually get eliminated here in the semi-finals. And as I said before, a lot is resting on SIMP here. If SIMP is able to take this series, they will move on into the grand finals. If they don't, they're going to be relegated.
MacG, what are you doing? He's getting caught out, I think, on his scout run. Akula, Starshield, Consequences, all on hot pursuit, but they're going to have to break off. They don't want to overdo it. And
everybody's being lit, by the way. I mean, everybody from I Love Lamp has been lit for the most part. Baby Halo, I love his scout run, checking out the west side, making sure to catch for any blitzes, and he does see a lot of tanks coming in. Abrasive taking a lot of damage here, 351 hit points. X-Soldier is going to be the one that takes some of the damage, but he has plenty of hit points, and he doesn't take that much because he's an IS-3.
Yeah, it's almost like a mirrored situation. Mac G was able to pull some I Love Lamp players out, but look, a deep strike, that is just bold of Invade and Consequences right up and over. This is just a counter push out of nowhere. This could be too much, though. This could be a little too aggressive for I Love Lamp.
I agree. I mean, you don't want to give those IS-3s a lot of time to actually position and actually get a good position and use their alpha damage to eliminate a lot of the hit points off of Simp. Right now, it's pretty close, though, and we have to give it to the brawling
This is crazy.
so far.
This is just going to be insane. You can see everyone's all about the place. There's no huge amount of organization for I Love Lamp. Tanks in full flight. Consequences and Invade are going to go down, but that's going to be in exchange for Blue Boys as long as someone can make that finishing shot. Akula does not. And there Starshield's going to be able to do it. Now, 5 tanks to 4. I Love Lamp has more hit points. Simp, more guns on the battlefield. Comes down to that organization, teamwork, and their ability to play together. Starshield must go down, but Mac G misses the first. Adrox is following it up with a second.
Man, look at the runarounds, though. It's so hard to target all the Simp guys, but they're doing a pretty good job so far. 1,800 hit points to 2,800. Is it going to be enough? Is Simp able to do this? 3 tanks against 3 tanks. So it can happen. It's very difficult, though. We're going to find out. Aggressor.
He's ammo racked. He's reloading so very slowly right now.
One more shot.
Mac G gets it.
Wow.
That
really
little
well
autoloader.
Really, really well played. X-Soldier and Akula still very healthy, though, and Mac G, he does represent a tank on the field, but it's not a lot of damage. Remember, he's in that tier 6. It does put out damage, but not that much. Absolute Royal is the one that is just about to reload.
It's Akula, though. Akula for I Love Lamp has been picking up so many kills, connecting so many shells, and you have to give it to him. He's been doing so much work now with the assistance of his battle buddies, and now closing the distance with Mac. This should be an easy fight. He's going to drift a little bit on that corner, putting his front to his opponent. And one more shell is all it's going to take. But that was not a shell meant for Mac G. That was one, wow. From way downtown from Absolute.
That is crazy. Absolute Royal, obviously the last tanker left. There is 3 minutes and 43 seconds. And remember, they are the attackers. They're the ones that have to either eliminate all the tanks or somehow cap. And how are you going to do that with 262 hit points left? That is probably impossible here.
Impossible, I think, yes. Absolute Royal would have to play out of his mind. But at 1390, okay, earlier in the season, it was Heavy 20, I believe, who was able to clutch a few battles. And actually, it was Murovanka. He was able to clutch, and it was a situation very much like this.
But in the top 4, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Rookhill, let's talk a little bit about what happened in this battle, because really, I mean, a lot of this is a formality at this point. I think Simp is just regrouping and saying, what the heck just happened? We're in a situation where we're down 3-1 after this battle. What happened? And I'm going to attribute it to, as you said before, being too aggressive. You want to play that game where you're sniping against IS-3s. IS-3s are not good in hold down position, spoiler alert. And on top of that, you have better tanks that can really out-snipe the other tanks. So why don't you go for those trades in the early stages, and then boom, once the amount of tanks have kind of been, you know, reduced in hit points, you can target those down really quickly, turret break the IS-3s, and go in for the execution.
Isn't that what Simp tried previously, though?
They did, but they were too slow in battle number 1, or the last battle.
Yeah.
In this battle number 4 here, they were too fast. So they need to find this Goldilocks zone where they're just right.
I see what you're talking about. But they also need to find success in that early game. They weren't able to find it last time.
It's true.
And they need to understand that, well, it's a difficult situation. It's not going to work all the time. So what's your backup when that doesn't happen? You're going to have to attack. Traditionally, when you find that your opponent's too well defended in the southwest, you just put a tank on the east cap. But a team like I Love Lamp is prepared for that. They've got a passive scout in the correct position, usually Baby Halo, and he's able to find the right tanks. Now, it's not really going to work. You're going to have to start a fight, and you're going to have to find a way of catching your opponent off guard.
Yeah.
Got to give it to Absolute Royal. Look at the way he's driving. It doesn't matter if this is an impossible situation for him. He's
All right. He puts
doing
damage on Ex-Soldier.
Excellent job.
The problem is right now that even if he does all the damage, he needs to reload a second time to be able to take out the rest of I Love Lamp. They're going to take it. Battle number 4, up 3-1 in the first 4 maps. That's pretty crazy, man. I Love Lamp considered the big wild cards going into this. They could have either performed super, super incredible or get crushed, and it looks like we know which I Love Lamp came to the finals of Season 5.
At least on Murovanka. That's what I'm going to say. Murovanka is a map that that when I saw and I remember how they've played in the past, I know I Love Lamp is better on this map. They understand it. They have strategies that they have specifically designed around countering SIMP.
Is SIMP a team right now falling victim to a downward spiral in which they have negative momentum in their disfavor?
You're thinking they're going to go on tilt.
I think so. It's possible. I mean, it could have happened from the regular group stages. They felt a little bit shaky. They weren't able to iron out all the kinks going into this particular finals. And now we see the first 4 battles, and they're not looking the SIMP that we know and love.
Look at this. Abrasive is getting subbed out, is what I'm being told right now by production. So with him...
What does that mean?
What does that mean? That means that we're going to see perhaps a change up in the way SIMP is going. Why? Why are they switching him out? Is he underperforming in their opinion? Looking at the way he was last time, he's doing okay. Like he's not being the least performing member of his team. 714 damage, which is identical to Adroxus, for example, of last battle.
It is a little bit scary though. We were talking in the pre-show how Abrasive was one of the MVPs over at SIMP. He was one of the guys that they rely on, that they say, hey man, this is the guy that's going to put out some consistent damage. This is the guy combined with Heavy 20 that's going to surprise a lot of people. To lose him, I'm a little bit worried, but they will filter in another SIMP guy. I think it's Brodus.
I believe so. Brodus stepping onto the battlefield. Now, Brodus has played about 41 battles this season.
Still a lot, yeah.
It's a good amount of battles. His averages, hit rate about 71%. He's got about average, let's see, damage about 915 per battle. If you were to break over 1,000, I'd feel like that's a big change up. But with about 915, I'd say he's going to be a solid, maybe consistent player. Maybe the time he's had on the bench, he's been able to look at the way SIMP is playing. Now that he's sitting down, he's on comms. He gets to say, all right, guys, this is what everyone's saying. This is what everyone's feeling. This is what I am perceiving from this third-person perspective.
Sure.
And he can take that to his team where if you don't have that kind of a change-up, you don't get that kind of intel from that side other perspective.
Definitely makes sense. I do want to note another thing too with I Love Lamp, and it is the fact that we were saying expect the unexpected. They're going to do some crazy stuff. Have we seen crazy stuff? Maybe the tanks at most, but it's within reason. It's within expectations. We haven't seen any game-breaking changes to the meta.
No, we haven't.
They've been just outperforming and outplaying their opponents.
They're doing the things that they did before. They're doing all of what was in the bounds of I Love Lamp.
Yeah.
Things we'd seen on Murovanka before. Things that we'd seen them bring. Things that had surprised us in the past, but not really here. It's something we've seen, so it's no longer an unexpected.
Yeah, they're beating SIMP at their own game. How SIMP would win ordinarily in all the past seasons here at WGLNA. I feel like I Love Lamp says, hey, we're just going to play the standard style because we think just our image, our ability to do all these different attacks are making you cover too much area, and we're able to find those tiny little vulnerabilities in your armor and immediately start piercing through that and just taking the wins.
I think that's what we can say about all of the winning battles today.
Yeah, that's true.
No hesitation.
That's true.
No team that has been hesitating has been winning today. They have been decisive when it matters. They've moved exactly when they need to.
And the discrimination has been the attackers. Most importantly, it's not what we were expecting before in the regular group stages where we saw the defenders just saying, oh, you know, you defended right, you got your 2 wins. Okay, you defended right, you got your 2 wins. You eventually go to the tiebreak. That hasn't happened at all. We have a very decisive 3-1 advantage for I Love Lamp, which is hard to do on a map like Murovanka, and now we're going to move over. What do we know what the next map?
Himmelsdorf, sir.
Himmelsdorf. Okay, that is a tough map. Even if it goes 2-2, guess who wins 5-3 overall? It's I Love Lamp. So there needs to be some headway that's changing for SIMP in order for them to turn the tides.
What's great for SIMP, though, they can slow this one down. Along with having the change-up, bringing Brodus in, they get to defend first on Himmelsdorf.
Okay.
SIMP is a team that, well, they're excellent defenders.
They can easily go 3-3 after the next 2 battles.
Exactly.
Easily go 3-3.
This is kind of like stacking up the way it did with Cunningham's Elevate. So if that's any indication, this could be a back and forth. But I have full confidence that SIMP is going to be able to defend. The only place that I Love Lamp's going to be able to close this out on is when they switch it up to defend. They do bring out those crazy strategies.
The E25, even the 12T makes a lot of sense, as we saw on the last battles with Cunningham and Elevate. So there's a lot of different things that can be brought out to really confuse the opponents. Man, I really like how I Love Lamp is looking, man. We were talking about it in the pre-show. You mentioned Elevate is going to take it and I Love Lamp is going to take it. The 2 underdogs, I would say, in the overall top 4. But man, oh man, are they showing that they've prepared well and they're able to execute all of their preparations.
Yes, I did make those predictions, but at the same time, I have to say that I felt like I was going to be wrong. Something said, I'm making these predictions, I'm trying to be objective, but there's a part of me that says it's very easy in this lineup to be wrong. Yeah. Because these teams are so very close in skill.
Well, you see a much different demeanor right now. A very serious SIMP team against a very smiling Baby Halo team. That's a big change-up since we saw after battle number 1. What are the tanks for battle number 5 here?
All right, we've got 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s, a T-32, and a T-37 for SIMP, who will be defending first. I Love Lamp, 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s, and 2 ISs. It's a very aggressive lineup that says, I'm going to run right into you.
Okay, let's start with the opening runs really quickly. We can see that it's very similar to what we saw with the Cunningham's game, where there's a bunch of tanks going up on the hill, and we'll see if they actually stop over there or they keep pressing forward. Invade is leading the charge over near Tank Alley, actually moving across. So it's what we kind of see with the other battles, where there's from the attackers, they are moving a little bit, really looking to attack that north side.
Yeah, you can see it, the same opening move. Same opening moves. This is telling us new meta.
Definitely so. And I think the meta needs to change on Himmelsdorf if any of these aggressors want to take the wins. You can see a very west side defense over from the SIMP guys. And the fact that they scout out and see nothing being contested on the southwestern side should tell them that they're probably going to be witnessing a north push.
Exactly. Now, oh, that is a cute angle. Look on the hill. You see those shots fired?
I do.
Going right up and over Akula. Blue Boys knows exactly the timings. This is showing SIMP's understanding of the map. That's just straight up impressive.
Yeah, but still not connecting. So it's impressive in preparation. I'm not impressed just yet because it's not going to give them the win. Of course, I Love Lamp now starting to materialize in their position. As you can see over on the bottom, over in Tank Alley on this 7-8 line, they're pushing forward. They're trying to get more and more position. And meanwhile, take a look at Absolute Royal and his battle buddy, Blue Boy's captain. They're really far from defending the North Cap. But what they're going to give is that center control, that courtyard crossfire.
Exactly. They're going to be able to move in and flank. But more importantly, MacG has gotten the spotting, which is important. He's taken damage for it, but that's going to slow I Love Lamp down. They have to hesitate to say, wait, does SIMP know what's up? Are they here? Are they waiting around the corner? Is this a trap? Decide, I guess, that you're not going to
tell. A lot is going to be told right here with Aggressor actually moving in on the A line. This is going to tell him, oh, he takes a shot from Heavy 20. He actually reverse angles perfectly, so he's not going to take any damage there. And just move on from that.
All right, and now Ex-Soldier, Star Shield, and it looks like even Invade are going to be able to get into the 5-6 line safely, forcing Mac back a little bit. He has to take cover. He doesn't want to go down. He wants to work as bait. And also, maybe as a little bit of a trap, because Fedge is close by, waiting for that strong side south. The strategy where I Love Lamp says makes you defend the north, thinking that there's going to be that north cap, and then moves around in the south, pushes on your weak side, and then just takes down a few tanks in an instant, follows that up with even more aggression. But Ex-Soldier is in a very dangerous place as well.
Yes, he is. He doesn't know yet that Absolute Royal and Blue Boys captain is still over at that G line and that K line, so it's a little bit scary. for X-Soldier if he gets caught off guard. And it looks like Blue Boys captain and Absolute Royal are going to start moving into position. X-Soldier takes a big shot, but they are able to kill Mac G.
But now X-Soldier's taking a lot of damage, 920 in 3 shells from Absolute Royal. Fedge is going to begin pressing it as well. Brodus behind him. Heavy 20 and Adroxus are going to hold back for now. And Blue Boys, I don't think he's been discovered, meaning he might be able to get some shells in on X-Soldier and other tanks if he's able to zero.
Here's the trigger from Akula and his battle buddy over here. Consequences, they're going to start moving into position, realizing that they need to do something. 3 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock, and the base capture has been started, but it looks like Aggressor is just going to push up, trying to take away that hold down position from Heavy 20. It's hard to do that IS-3 versus T-32, though.
Exactly. The volley fire also forcing Invade back. And there's the follow-up. It's going to be a late, very low health press into the north, and there goes Aggressor. X-Soldier will follow shortly, and Starshield is forced to go way out ahead of the rest of the group. He goes down. Invade understands what he has to do. He blocks off Heavy 20. No one else can engage with him, but he's taking too much damage in the meantime.
This is the perfect kiting coming out from SIMP. I mean, they are picking apart this attack coming out from Baby Halo and I Love Lamb.
Yeah.
Still, there is a nice little surround going on here. Consequences able to come around all the way, but now Absolute Royal and Blue Boys Captain are going to be activated. Down goes Consequences. There are still a bunch of tanks left, but Invade, X-Soldier, both very low. Baby Halo, of course, is around, but he's not really able to activate all too well since he is pretty light.
Well, I mean, Simp may be looking like they're in a dark spot, but that's what we're waiting for. Those 5100s that are at high health and are reloaded. There's so much damage here. And I Love Lamp, well, there was a moment where they looked great, like it was going to go well. Simp is just too healthy with the right damage dealers at the end.
And down goes Akula. Simp will take battle number 5. Putting the score up to 2 and 3, a breath of relief from this team, realizing, okay guys, we still have it. This is the way we win. This is the way we play. Let's play our game. But still, they only have 1 defense left until they have to switch over to aggression. So it tells us that Simp, they can get these wins, but they still need to come up with a clear, concise plan.
Exactly. This is something that we used to see a lot in the past. That press from the 5-6 line into the north. What's different about this situation, you can see I Love Lamp has to start it at a huge deficit. They've lost too many hit points getting into this position.
I feel like we were just talking about it on Murovanka, how I Love Lamp was out-positioning their opponents. I think this is a clear indicator how Simp is out-positioning I Love Lamp. I mean, they're very comprehensive in their defense. Look at the patience from the 25100s all the way on the G line and all the way down on the bottom on the K line. K, that's all the way, that's the opposite from the A.
That's I love that explanation. It's about 600-700 meters away.
That's a far distance, and it's really the patience. He's just waiting, or both of them are just waiting for the other tanks, the 5100s, for I Love Lamp to be activated. And they're saying, okay, where can we get the good shots? We saw that in X-Soldier. He got evaporated pretty early on. He wasn't able to do that much because he was so low in hit points, and from there on, it was just a snowball. And you saw those 5100s really take the game at the very end.
Yeah, it's just the little things like that, keeping the right tanks alive. If it had been a little bit different, entirely different story. And now, as we get into battle number 6, Simp is going to be bringing those 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s, a T-32 and that T-37.
Standard lineup.
Standard. But Lamp's going to switch it up a little bit. I like this. 2 5100s, 2 IS-3s, a KV-5, and 2 ISs. So they're 10K lineup.
Yeah, does a KV-5 really work? Because I feel like it's had a very low success rate overall in the WGLNA.
It's very dependent on your opponent's lineup. It's one of those that's very difficult to judge, where you have a situation where it's like if your opponent doesn't bring enough hit points, they can't meet you head on. Okay. If they bring too many autoloaders, they're not going to be able to take the alpha damage. They're not going to be able to match you. And because of that, you're going to lose simply based on hit points. You have to bring a matching amount of hit points to the battlefield. Simp, in this situation, 9,430.
It's pretty respectable, right?
It's good. It's close enough. So. You don't have to take 10K to meet 10K. What you have to do is you have to bring something that is maybe 8,000, 7,000 hit points on your lineup. That means you bring like Waffentragers or you bring 5100s. That's a lineup that will instantly lose against something like what I Love Lamp has.
Definitely makes sense. As it stands right now, opening lineups or opening movements, we can see that SIMP has gone for this left side, and they're just taking the west side, making sure everything's good, scouting out to see anything that's going on, and then you can see, again, Heavy 20 is pushing back into this A4, A5 place where he's going to go into hull down and stop any pushes coming in from this north side. It's hard. It's very difficult for I Love Lamp to be able to, you know, make something happen when I feel like SIMP is very comprehensive in how they...
Whoa! From the hill,
Okay.
Mac G, 383 from, I believe that's Aggressor.
Yes, it was Aggressor that was able to connect that shot. I mean, I was just about to say, I Love Lamp, how are they going to actually aggress up onto their opponent and get an advantage? There you go, getting one free shot on Mac G. Now, it doesn't make a huge difference, don't get me wrong.
Yet.
Mac G, I mean, he's probably the most expendable tank, but still, that one shell could make a difference a little bit later on.
Exactly. Getting the connection means you don't have to waste a shell on him later. When he finally moves in on a flank or begins harassing some of your 5100s on reload, he's only one shell from death. He's only got 297 hit points, which means that a 5100 might low roll and he lives, and IS-3, not really going to happen. There's a low probability that you would be able to shrug off that shell.
Gotcha. By the way, look at the adjustment, the slight adjustment I was about to say, but it looks like Akula is pushing up forward over in Tank Alley. I thought he was going to stay around at the G line, realizing that Absolute Royal, Blue Boys Captain both like to stay on the bottom, but it looks like Mac G is going to take Blue Boys Captain's role and stay all the way down at the J1 line, and meanwhile, Blue Boys Captain going to rotate all the way to the top, make sure that they can defend on that A-line push.
I think it's a more ideal situation for SIMP.
I do too.
Because Mac G is alive this time and he's not pinned.
That's
he was
true.
pinned in the previous battle, and I think ideally he would have been the one far south, but they replaced him with Blue Boys, recognizing that a huge part of the strategy was just having a gun in that position so that no one can contra-flank you. And a contra-flank, of course, is sorry, not of course, it's a weird statement. It is a flank of a flank.
Yes.
So you're going to bring that flank around through the D line, and you're going to contra-flank that. You don't want to get flanked again.
Aggressor.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, reverse angling, trying to bounce as many shells as possible, but a little bit out of position. He showed his side too much and got punished immediately. That's just like a second or 2 seconds, and also just like 5 degrees of an angle too far over, and he gets punished immediately.
Where was it exactly on him, do you know? Just right on the engine?
Yeah.
Right in the engine deck.
Very unfortunate for him. I mean, that's a tough situation. 8,000 hit points to 9,000 hit points in favor of SIMP. Not a good position, especially when you're bringing that KV5 and you're supposed to have the hit point advantage.
Exactly. Now, hit points, actually reminding us hit points, 9K versus 8,200. And Heavy 20, I got to give him a lot of credit here for his positioning. And oh, that was fire on X-Soldier. 424, sorry about that. That was one solid connection, and that's huge for I Love Lamp. That's going to mean the push is coming in. Shots fired, 407, 977 into Baby Halo.
Wow.
That's what they're going to pay for this position.
Yeah.
A huge toll to take for IS's in a position that's really not going to do a huge amount for them yet. Starshield's going to be able to maybe deal some damage onto Heavy 20. No, it's going to bounce, which means this is becoming less and less valuable of an attack for them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, 2 minutes, 15 seconds left on the clock, too, so it's not even like they have a good position to actually start the cap, since they have not a favorable position. They haven't even been able to screen it, and now they're just going in for a brawl. Mac G in a perfect position to also run away. So there's a lot of plan Bs and plan Cs for SIMP to defend against this incoming push. It doesn't look like I Love Lamp has a good win condition here.
No, but with the Droxus going down, that could be a bit of SIMP overstepping. A gun off the battlefield is good for I Love Lamp. That means they do have some potential if they can make solid plays to try and come back. But look south. Look at Akula. He is alone versus a Blue Boys Captain and Absolute Royal. Mac G's even on the way to help out in that fight.
Not looking too good. And down Akula goes. I mean, this is 4,000 hit points to 2,400 hit points. Everything's going wrong for I Love Lamp. SIMP just, again, showing a very comprehensive defense, understanding how to position their tanks. Absolute Royal being placed perfectly, might I add. And again, he's able to put out a lot of damage, stall their opponents a lot, and put the shots on that matter.
And there we go. Starshield is down by Heavy 20. And now Aggressor remains in the north. Heavy 20 is going to take him on man-to-man. and all he needs is one good connection.
Down he goes. Mac G running away. Oh, down goes Aggressor. And not looking good for I Love Lamp, obviously. 755 hit points. Only one tank left now.
And that's like Soldier. Let's see, are they going to give it to Mac? Just let him pick it up?
I don't think so. Brodus, Blue Boys captain, coming on in. He's going to take the initial alpha damage, but that's
it might be Mac. It is.
There it is. Mac G will take the killing blow. Simp ties up the series 3-3. That does initiate the switch, though. Attack to defense and defense to attack. I mean, Simp are the ones that need to make sure they get at least one to tie up the series. If they let their opponents get 2 straight in a row as defense, they're going to lose the series overall.
Exactly. This is where I Love Lamp can close it out. Simp on the attack, I don't know. I'm not as confident, but I Love Lamp's attacks were a little bit shaky too.
I would say they were pretty lackluster, honestly.
Yeah, the IS is coming across, trying to push the cap, but there's no huge follow-up. I didn't feel like I Love Lamp pressured any particular point of Simp's defense enough to really cause it to fold or to really make Simp worry. Nothing seemed to be out of control of Simp.
It was really a permutation of what we were normally used to seeing in the standard group stages, right?
Yeah.
And that push up the one line, or the A line, that push down the center line, hasn't had that much success. Himmelsdorf is already a very difficult map to kind of tackle to begin with, and I think that's why we saw in the Elevate versus Cunningham's a lot more west side control by the aggressors. You need to make them fear the west side. You may need to make them back up to the northwest and then say, I can come in from the north, I can go cap the west. I have a couple different options, and if you defend against the west too hard, I'm going to be able to throw some north pressure and really catch you off guard.
Yes, I think that's exactly it. We haven't seen a lot of that kind of play, though. I think that's kind of a little bit it's disappointing to not see a team like I Love Lamp bring exactly that.
You know, it could just be I Love Lamp. I Love Lamp is a little bit frustrated with the attack on Himmelsdorf. We're going to see how Simp is able to deal with this as we start to move into battle number 7. Holy moly, it's so far up there. These two teams so closely matched.
Exactly. Now, tanks, Simp on the attack, the red team, 2 5100s, 3 IS-3s, a KV-5, and a T-37. Notice that respecting the opponent's lineup. This is them saying, all right, we have to bring enough hit points to match this against 3 5100s, an IS-3, 2 KV-5s, and a T-37.
2 KV-5s. What in the world is this? I'm not used to seeing 2 KV-5s by the defenders. Normally it's the aggressors that's bringing out the KV-5s. We've seen I Love Lamp bring out KV-5s before and make literally a moving wall become a stationary wall, become dead husks, become a lost game. But we haven't seen it in defense.
It's hoping, I believe, that they will waste shells on IS-3s, or IS-3s and 5100s will just fail to get the kill enough. You know, like they'll be left with 100 hit points. And it'll be just enough to the point where that KV-5 will grab the attention away from other more important tanks, 5100s.
Careful. Mac G and Absolute Royal are spotted here, but at the same time, Aggressor, Ex-Soldier, and Invade were spotted, so relative positions are known. We can see the red team, Simp, is going in for a huge southwestern push to start things off. It doesn't mean they're actually going to commit to this, but we do have to take a look at Aggressor.
Shots fired, consequences getting into heavy 20. Return fire is not going to be successful from Adroxus. And I like that. Consequences getting a little bit of damage here and there. It's going to take Simp a little bit further down, making those KV-5s even more potentially valuable in the future for Lamp. And now you're going to see them engaging underneath the train tracks.
Underneath the train tracks. What a tough shot to get onto your opponent.
Especially with IS-3s.
Yeah.
IS-3s, you're mostly going to hit track, and then you're going to bounce. Heavy 20, though, decides, all right.
Aggressor is actually caught off guard a lot, and now it looks like the rest of Simp is actually pushing across all the way into the 1-2 line, or more like the 1 line, trying to pick off Aggressor. A KV-5 versus an IS-3. Let me tell you, the IS-3 might have a little bit of trouble, but consistent crossfire from Consequences and Akula all the way from downtown is going to help him out and stop Brodus from attacking and pushing in.
Although I'm worried about Blue Boys. While Brodus is taking a lot of damage and there is damage being returned, Simp is losing more than they're able to reply with.
Man.
And Blue Boys is exposed. if Brodus goes down, there's no one else standing in the way to take down Blue Boys. 2 more shells. He is at 490 hit points.
Yeah, I mean, oh, wow. 1 shot goes down on Blue Boy's captain, and now it's just 1 shot away. He needs to be so careful and still a little bit vulnerable. He's trying to duck behind cover. It looks like he's okay behind these trains.
No, he will not be perfectly safe behind anything until he's all the way around past the 3 line.
Right.
Until then, there's still a chance for someone to find the angle and to make the connection and get the kill.
We'll see if that's possible. Heavy 20. I mean, so far we've seen really unfavorable trades for SIMP so far. I Love Lamp looks like they're able to just sit, defend, and rely on, you know, a much more honed attack than their opponents, or rather honed reticle, right? They have zeroed shots, meaning they're able to just sit there, wait until the reticle is super, super tiny, and then take their shots because they have the defender's advantage. Now Aggressor will go down, so Absolute Royal will be able to take that kill, but look at the hit points. 3,000 for SIMP, 6,000 for I Love Lamp, a gigantic advantage.
And even more, it's the gap widens. Absolute Royal takes a little damage. Blue Boys getting spotted now. We're going to expect to see some fire coming in. Starshield could have the killing blow. Let's see if he's going to be able to make it.
Okay,
and it's going to be for Absolute instead, actually.
X-Soldier and Fej are actually going tit for tat over here. I mean, it's just a lot of back and forth corner games. X-Soldier will, in fact, go down, but I mean, again, look at the HP advantage. SIMP not taking the better end of this.
They're not. Now they're 25100s. Blue Boys and Absolute, 2 players who are absolutely excellent and should be staying healthy through the battle, are unfortunately not able to. Adroxis Heavy 20, Fej, other tankers who ideally should be taking that damage have been on the flank. The KV-5, I think, has not worked out for them. It's really been a failure for them in this situation. Blue Boys looks to line up for Consequences, which could change the course of the battle, giving a huge land grab to SIMP. You see how Consequences going down would mean Akula, Invade, and Starshield up in the north would be in a northwest camp, making SIMP easily able to take control of the southern cap.
Heavy 20 and Adroxis is moving into the D line here, trying to take out Baby Halo. Of course, Baby Halo doesn't represent a lot of DPM, and now Adroxis will actually be back attacked by Invade, and he goes down. Heavy 20 now alone, and he can be isolated very easily, although they don't want to get too far out of position because, of course, they can be attacked. Invade has 2 more shots. Wow, Invade makes the shot, takes down Heavy 20.
Wow. I did not expect that. That seemed like a very difficult shot to me.
Yeah.
Now, Consequences in the north represents the control of I Love Lamp over the west. Also, the ability to take down tankers like Blue Boys, Absolute Royal, people who, if they go down, I think hope is dead for SIMP in this battle.
I think so. I think hope is dead. Like, it's 1% for them to win at this point.
No, it's coming back. It's coming back.
1,000 hit points to 2,700 and no possible win condition. They don't have the flag cap anywhere near possible. I really don't see how SIMP is able to take this here.
Invade's sitting on 1 shell. Akula's on the reload. Now, once Akula's reloaded, sure. But I think Invade is a huge weak point because he's holding on to that 1 shell.
I don't know, man. A minute and 30 seconds, I really don't think it's going to matter all that much.
You're right, the time's ticking.
It's not going to be enough time, and everybody's way too low to actually put the aggression on. Invade, even though he has that 1 shell, he can go out into the open and say, here, try to kill me. Go ahead. It doesn't matter because we have so many hit points over you. 720 to 1664. Look at this. Blue Boys captain, super low, 85 hit points. Absolute
can
royal.
Just drive into him.
Oh, well,
that
not anymore.
That's one way to do it.
Oh my God. Double tap. It's a very clean cleanup. Clean up. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have thought that MacG could have gone a little... I said drive forward. In my mind, I was thinking about 10 meters back where you have the angle you can pen. But, of course, you do forget about Akula being in the position Akula is.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Look at where Baby Halo is. He's pretty comfortable. Just sniping, trying to hit Fej. Actually hits Fej, has shots on him. So it forces him to move somewhere. Absolute Royal, of course, is pretty low. Now some return fire, but down goes Absolute Royal.
Snaked that shot, and he exposed himself a little bit too much. Easy shot for him.
Check this out, man. Baby oh no, it's Consequences.
Yeah, from the back.
I Love Lamp will take battle number 7, putting them at match point, 1 win away from going to the grand finals over here. That puts them in contention to get that first place prize pool of $75,000. Remember, they're fighting for a $171,000 prize pool altogether, it's a big difference between third place and first place. 75,000 for first place, 20,000 for third place. That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Think about the
losing.
prestige. You get to beat SIMP in a finals. It's massive.
That's
for
incredible.
A new team.
Yeah.
You have just stopped SIMP from being in a final, something that never happens. When was the last time you didn't think about SIMP and go, okay, they were first or second in every single season?
Yeah, that's their go-to. That's their MO. They're just always on top. They know how to adapt. But it looks like SIMP not able to put on that aggression that, you know, we don't really know them to be aggressive. We don't really know them to have the most pristine execution when it comes to attacks and taking initiative and really putting themselves in precarious spots and coming out ahead. You know, a lot of these teams, they're the aggressors. They come out, they're 40%, you know, sometimes 45%, sometimes even more than 50%. SIMP, when have we seen them be more than like 30 or 20%? They're pretty low in terms of attack. They're normally relying on their brawls, and they're not committing to these brawls at all. That's the big weakness that we've seen so far. And hey, man, this is a lot of pressure. This is, will you go to the grand finals in Poland or not? Right here, we're going to find out in battle number 8. It is match point for I Love Lamp. Let's get into battle.
All right, 2 5100s, 3 IS3s, a T32 and a T37 for SIMP. No change. No big change from their standard lineup. They're going to drop that KV5. Probably a smart play. 3 5100s, 2 IS3s, a KV5, and a T37 for I Love Lamp. Trying to bring those hit points just a little bit more than their opponent.
Yep.
They want to hit. They want to bring more autoloaders. Notice 3 5100s, but that lightens them up. Less armor. So they need to bring the KV5 to offset that.
Why do you think they only went with 1 KV5 instead of the 2 KV5s from last game?
IS3s are good tanks. They're staple tanks. They're
Definitely.
more maneuverable.
You don't have to convince me of that, Mr. Rootkill.
Oh, best tank in space, IS3.
Definitely so. It definitely makes sense, but it's interesting to see the stylistic change. I mean, it's just one battle. The KV5s worked pretty well, but I mean, they're still choosing to change it up, and that's what I love to see. Constant changes. Even if they're slow, small little adjustments, it does help with just making it harder for SIMP to really peg their opponents exactly what they're doing.
Exactly. And on the return route, MacG, by the way, getting a little bit of spotting here and there as tanks from I Love Lamp make their way down the west side. Absolute Royal, Blue Boys, were waiting to see if they could find some kind of an advantage there, get some early damage, but with a result of nothing, you've got no loss, no huge gain. Both sides know just about what's going on. It's normal to go up the 8 line, up the banana, and 391 damage onto Brodus as he's crossing. Good spotting from, I think that was ex-soldier who must have been in the proper position. And now Brodus has to try and cross once more. I can almost feel the apprehension.
Oh, man. Heavy 20 actually took a shot right now. As you said, the apprehension, the pressure that has to go on in both of these teams. I want to remind you guys, if I Love Lamp wins right here, they lock in an extra $15,000. That's pretty considerable right there. They absolutely, absolutely need to get this win in order for them to not only get a better prize pool, but also make it to the grand finals in Poland.
Exactly. Now, it's going to be the press. Heavy 20 and Adroxus out in the open. How much will they pay for the position?
Looks like, 929 hit points on Heavy 20 solo. That's the guy.
By 675. So they do get a little bit of damage on the cross. Something that's a little bit weird. Usually you don't expect that much, but I have to bring that up. SIMP is able to bring a little damage back onto their opponent.
But I think Heavy 20 is really important in this spot because he is the T32. He's the one in hold down position. So if they're able to eliminate him, maybe get the Shuka, maybe get right below the turret, they might be able to take him out and stop that advantage ordinarily that you would have from taking this cubbyhole.
Or hitting perhaps the commander's hatch. One good shell will do it, but he's exactly the tank who might be ideal to survive in such a situation. He's got the armor. IS3s are the guys who are going to take hits, and there goes Aggressor.
Yep. Oh, Absolute Royal taking a lot of damage. He's going to hide behind cover. Of course, they're trying to cover that D-line. I want to remind you guys that there is the base that has been captured right now. You can see MacG, Brodus, and Adroxus all on cap with Heavy 20 screening as best as possible. And that's going to force I Love Lamp to push forward and reset this cap. Baby Halo all the way in the center line, all the way in G5, is going to put on shells and try to reset this cap as well, and it looks like they do.
But the overmatch happens. There goes Ex-Soldier Starshield, a KV-5, very healthy tank, great armor. He's going to hold off as long as he can, but he's not going to be able to hold off forever. Yep. He needs backup.
In the south side, Absolute Royal is about to be completely ganked over here. Invade coming up the side, saying Absolute Royal. I don't, well, he actually
gets a little ahead of himself, but he's able to get it.
That's right.
And there, Starshield just now goes down, and that's just enough time to get rid of Absolute Royal, a 5100, and a crucial tank for the damage-dealing potential of SIMP. But SIMP has had time to regroup. Heavy 20's low, Adroxus is low, Brodus is reasonably healthy, Blue Boys is reasonably healthy, and MacG is sitting at full health.
And most importantly, Blue Boys is reloaded in his 5100. That's really incredibly important because Consequences is not. So there's still a lot more time that they can wait, or they have to wait rather, and that gives more base capture points to their opponent. That means I think I Love Lamp have to go in a little bit more aggressively than they want to be.
But here, Blue Boys is getting focused. Baby Halo is in a great, got a little too aggressive, and now Blue Boys is going to be able to take him on 1v1, but a little hesitation. He knows the potential that he is going to overexert himself, overplay his hand, and he might pay for it. But Invade plays it well, and a 290 roll is going to keep him alive a little bit longer. 273 damage on that last hit. We could see Baby Halo get the kill onto Blue Boys. And then Consequences goes down.
Akula is coming up the center line. Heavy 20, Adroxus, and Brodus are all very, very low, but they need to keep in mind that it's 5 tanks against 2 tanks, even though it's 939 hit points to 989.
All right, Brodus.
Akula, okay.
Brodus has 406.
Oh, he actually...
He bounced?
He bounced.
Four shells.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
He's
really
got about 1,200 that he can deal. He has the potential damage.
He needs to do something. He was able to take out Adroxus here. 4 seconds left on the capture.
Perfect.
He needs to go in. Oh my god, he bounced again!
Wait,
and
is that a reset?
Is going to be captured.
It is it.
That's it. That's it.
Wait, the battle does continue for a little while. And actually, wait 1 second here. I Love Lamp on the okay, guys, this is the weirdest situation. I'll wait for the post game, and that's an I Love Lamp win. Okay, here's the situation for you guys. Cap happens, but if the tank dies right before the end, right before the battle ends, it will continue for another few seconds. If another tank dies, the game will persist another few seconds.
Oh my goodness.
And then, if another tank dies, it will persist. It will continue until either enough time has passed so that the cap happens, or from there, it can go either way. It's a crazy situation. I've run into it in, for example, Clan Wars. Let's take a look at the replay for you guys real quick.
I'm in disbelief right now.
This is a mind-blowing situation. A 1% of a 1% turnout here.
I'm in such disbelief.
Akula takes down Adroxus. Then Heavy 20 is dead, right? Look, 1 second left, 0. It is a win, yes, but Baby Halo gets a little bit of damage, and this is just before the battle ends. MacG goes down, follow-up shot, takes down Blue Boy's captain.
Oh my
now,
god.
Brodus is taking a shell, and Baby Halo gets the last connection.
No way!
This is something I've only seen once before, ever.
This, as you said, a 1% of a 1%. This is of the most outliers that we've ever seen. And what a way to take out SIMP. I Love Lamp, the big underdogs coming into this, are able to make it to the finals of Season 5.
This is absolutely amazing. My heart is racing. I didn't think something like this could happen.
I did not either. I'm still in disbelief right now. These guys have worked so hard. SIMP has worked so hard. It looked like they were in great and prime position to tie it up, go to that ace match. Instead, wow, the rug swept up underneath their opponent's feet.
And Baby Halo, absolutely brilliant. Made every single connection. Had he missed a single shell, that would have been the end. It would have been over. It would have been SIMP still in this one. Oh my gosh,
the reaction must be incredible. Clutch is ready for that with an interview of I Love Lamp.
Thank you, gentlemen. What an impeccable series. The closest matchup we've ever seen in the history of the WGLNA. Baby Halo, congratulations on that victory. What was it like being in that pocket when those tanks were still engaging, even though the flag cap was happening?
It was stressful. We were trying to discuss, like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? They're up on tanks. They're about to cap, you know? But then we decided to, like, stay there, wait, and just be patient. And then the opportunity was like, we have to go. And it just all worked out.
Now, we saw a big upset earlier with Elevate taking down Cunningham's. Now you are going to the finals against Elevate. What does this mean for I Love Lamp?
We have a chance from starting in the Bronze League, being underdogs in the Gold, to winning it all. It's crazy.
Now, what's at stake is not only that $75,000 for first place, but also a possibility to go to the Global Grand Finals in Poland. Does that add to the mix of the stakes for you right now?
That's what we want to do. We want to go to Poland, baby. We want to face the best.
Congratulations once again to I Love Lamp. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the third and fourth place match, then the awards ceremony, followed by the finals. Stay tuned. More World of Tanks action coming right at you.